We have to go to the root. We have to go to the cause. Dealing with the condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain, stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put 2 dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coons. The white man will go nuts if he can't shoot. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
Queen.
sense.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queen.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Ahmadiyyah.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
Ahmadiyyah.
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame, and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
I'm getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation.
Queen.
In my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. That's See right. A bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all in Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat.
This is the sound of Eric
It's a cut on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got...
This is the sound of famous fun.
All right, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click the notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, and as per usual, if you don't like what the Queen is cooking, you already know what to do. Exit stage to left and don't let the virtual doorknob hit you on your way out. All right, any questions? Any questions? Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr._A_Shakur, TikTok at Dr. A Shakur, and Twitter at DGoddess27. All right, hello, Ayon. All right, shout out to my moderators putting in work. Mr. Elevation, Bithia, Hundia is here. Nessie X, Lena. All right, Samantha, All Hell, Nah, Pearly, 504, Nola in the house, Claudette. All right, Ty Ingram is here. Sugar Mama is in the house. Cherokee Descendant Dale, Timber Dan, Jeff ATL. Okay, Darnell is here. Let's get into it. Courtney J, I see you, honey. Get those likes up. Please like and share. Hey, Tinge. With that all being said, hey, AJ, I see you, beloved. Everyone, please get the likes up. Please like and share. I apologize for my tardiness. Hey, Chris B, my aunt Egypt in the house. Shy is here. Locks Queen Candy J. Okay, so let's get into it. Vince, I am all the way from the UK. So with that all being said, listen, I just want to tell you all that I find it very interesting that this advocacy group, this sex workers advocacy group, and I'm just going to go ahead and say sex workers today. Listen, I'm not going to keep spelling it out because they're going to use it profusely throughout this article I'm about to read to you. So I don't have time to keep spelling it. So let's just go ahead and say it, all right? At the end of the day, this channel is not monetized anyway. So let's talk about it because I find it interesting. Hey, Miss Pretty, Jasmine, I find it interesting that they're going in on 50 for comments that he made about Daphne Starr, calling her a little sex worker. Well, isn't that what she is? But anyway, I digress. Let's just get into it. Because you see, this woman who's Afro-Latina by the name of, what's her name again? I'll tell you in a second. Oh, Phoenix. Her name is Phoenix Kalita. And Phoenix Kalita took it upon herself to go in on 50 Cent for saying things about Daphne Joy that are very likely true, in my opinion. She says they think, now, first of all, I'm going to read you this article just to give you a little insight into who Phoenix Kalita is and this organization of who advocates for sex workers that she runs, okay? I want to let you all know a little bit about them before I tell you what she said about 50. It says they think we have a PhD in horology, how lobbying for sex worker rights helps educate us all. Ha! I'm sorry, one's in the chat of any of you who think that the multitude of us need to be educated about sex workers. One's in the chat, please. One's in the chat, please. This is all nefarious. I want y'all to pay attention. Hold on. Jeff says, le quiero una... Hold on. Jeff says, le quiero una afro-latina. I absolutely cannot. But let me continue. It is too early. Well, actually, it's not even early, but I still don't have time for this. Okay, so it goes on to say, Phoenix Kalita is a Chicago-based Afro-Latina loudmouth and local activist with a passion for advocating for Black women, the LGBTQ community, and the sex worker community. Now, when not buried in yarn and DUI projects, they can be found co-hosting the Black podcast or on Twitter at Uppity Negress. It's what they call themselves. So anyway, I'm going to skip past all of this, but it goes on to say, a lot of people think they know what sex work is. I'm sorry, isn't it work that pertains to sex and getting paid for it? But let me continue. what sex worker is, what sex workers look like, or what sex workers need. Let the average person watch a documentary about sex work and suddenly they think they have a PhD in horology. This means that even well-meaning people end up hurting sex workers, and it needs to stop. Okay, which is how I ended up in DC taking part in the first ever sex worker lobby day. Okay, so there, I want you all to hear all of this stuff. Mind you, this person, Phoenix Kalita, okay, Phoenix Kalita is in fact a sex worker herself. If memory serves me correctly, I do believe that I read that in my research, that she is a sex worker. She's also the communications director for this project. So let's just go ahead and talk about it. Says the ultimate goal of the day was to create relationships and open dialogue. Our message is, if sex workers hadn't been excluded when this bill was written, we could have warned everyone about the unintended consequences that were coming. We could have told lawmakers about lawmakers that closing site where we screen will cause sex workers to be murdered. We could have told them that shutting down places where people are trafficked won't stop traffickers, but losing the digital footprint makes it harder to find trafficked people. Despite the moral objections to sex work, I don't think most people want to make things worse for sex workers, but people need to realize binging, I think they should be bringing sex worker documentaries. No, it's binging. Binging sex worker documentaries doesn't make one an expert or harm a reduction policy. Okay, I need to put on my glasses in a second. But with that all being said, this person's talking about a bill that was passed. Says the best way of the day for me was educating people. We spoke up about how these laws were directly impacting marginalized communities, how sex workers use the internet to stay safe. We talked about how sex workers use websites to screen clients, and not only was the option gone, it was illegal to share our bad date list with each other because of how broad and vague this bill is. Even the staffers who knew about the bill seemed shocked to learn that harm reduction practices like handing out condoms or emailing names of dangerous clients to other workers can be seen as criminal. So with that all being said, I find this all very interesting. So they're talking about training and all of this, self-defense and all these things. My thing is, why not just get a safer job? Okay? Why not just get a safer job? And so they met with some lawmakers. And they said President Donald Trump signed the bill into law. Okay? They wanted to talk about SESTA or FOSTA and how the bill had unintended yet incredible tragic consequences for sex workers. Okay, and this article I'm reading, that's what they were talking about. They're upset about the bill because they said it caused some of them to come, meet their demise. I would think that going out meeting random people online or in public that you don't know and don't know anything about, and you don't have any protection with you, such as a bodyguard or a hammer, if you catch what I'm saying, then that could lead to your demise. Okay? I'm sorry, this is just all ridiculous to me, but let me continue. I'm not a sex worker, so therefore, I guess maybe I shouldn't be so concerned, perhaps, but I just find it all interesting. Okay, so with that all being said, let's get to what they said about 50 Cent. Phoenix Kalita. Likes up, everyone please like and share. 50 Cent sex worker comments about Diddy spark fury. Well, they weren't exactly about Diddy. They were more so about Daphne. Now, rapper 50 Cent has been very vocal about Sean Diddy Combs' legal woes, and sex workers aren't happy about it. Well, that's likely because Diddy was employing a lot of these sex workers, allegedly. This is all alleged. Mr. Combs maintains his innocence to this date. But they are saying that he was employing numerous sex workers in different states and even possibly countries. So the Indie Club hip-hop star, whose given name is Curtis Jackson, has used social media to take multiple shots at Combs after his house was raided by federal authorities and over a civil lawsuit that his ex-girlfriend Daphne Joy was also named in. Now, Joy was identified in the lawsuit against Combs as someone he had allegedly paid for sex. Jackson has since referred to Joy as a little sex worker on multiple occasions, including in a photo of her with Combs. He then confirmed he would seek sole custody of their son, Sire, who's aged 11. Now a sex worker advocate is speaking out about Mr. Jackson's comments, saying that they further stigmatize the industry and they could bring harm to those working in it. Okay, Phoenix Kalita, the communications director at advocacy group Sex Workers Outreach Project USA, also known as SWAP USA, said sex workers and their advocates are dismayed by the star's social media post. I just want you all to pay attention. I did a TikTok about all this yesterday. It says it's very disappointing. Now, this is what Phoenix says. It's very disappointing, particularly because a lot of people are assuming the worst about her. It seems it's more fun for people to mock her for being a sex worker or being perceived or alleged to be a sex worker, but there's so many more serious conversations that should be happening that aren't because of the stigma around sex work. And I find it very, very frustrating. Well, I'm sure most sex workers do. Okay, I mean, because they think that we're just supposed to welcome them with open arms and like, hey, it's okay. Now, Homeland Security raided Combs' home in Miami and Los Angeles in March, a large-scale operation that the Associated Press reported was part of a sex trafficking investigation. On the same day, music producer Lil Rodney Jones filed an amended lawsuit against Combs, accusing him of sexual assault, fraud, sex trafficking, and grooming, among other things. Combs has denied wrongdoing. Now, so with that all been said, Daphne Joy, for those of you who missed it when I reported on her being named in the list, she says that I am deeply hurt by the lies Rodney Jones's lawsuit. The claim that I'm a sex worker is 100% false and character assassination. I'm retaining an attorney to explore all legal remedies against Rodney and his attorney. She's not going to do anything. This is just a cry wolf. They always say that when they're accused of something that they know they absolutely did, and they sit there and lie and say they're going to file for defamation and all of this to try to make us think that it's not true. But it always usually is, and I guarantee you she's not going to file anything. Now, back to Miss Kalita, Phoenix Kalita, that is. She explained to Newsweek that Jackson's comments are problematic for a number of reasons, including the fact that he's using the accusations against Joy to assert that he deserves custody of their son. Well, doesn't he? If she's out there with these doing sex work, if this is all true, and she's out there sleeping around with all these different people and getting paid to do so, couldn't that put her in a dangerous predicament? And couldn't some of these people perhaps become stalkers, at least one of them, and follow her home? Who knows? These are the crazy things that happen, not to mention all of the allegations against Mr. Combs, whom she's alleged to have worked for as a sex worker. With that all being said, isn't he in fact alleged to be dangerous? So I don't see what the problem is. 50 should be trying to get custody of his son. Okay, I find it interesting that this sex worker / director of communications for this advocacy group, Phoenix Kalita, is more upset about 50 repeating what's already in a publicly filed lawsuit documents, okay? She's finding it more problematic that he's repeating these things and calling his ex what she has been labeled and titled as in the lawsuit documents. But she's not upset about what what Diddy has had her allegedly doing. She's not upset that this could possibly potentially put her child in danger. Let's not forget that aboard the yacht on the night of the allegation against Puffy and or Diddy and his son Christian for raping the woman aboard the yacht and all of that. Let's not forget that his 1-year-old child was on there, Love Combs. That 1-year-old was on there also. And in fact, I do believe it may have been a celebration for the child's birth or something. Right? Some sort of celebration. But they said that baby was on there too in the documents. That's what it said. So I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't think children should be anywhere around such foolishness. Okay? Because as we're going to find out in a moment, sometimes these freak-offs can absolutely lead to homicide. Please pay attention. Goes on to say that I think a lot of people lean into celebrity gossip because they think those are just rich celebrities. It doesn't matter what they do, except that it does. Because if someone is comfortable saying those things about her, they're going to be even more comfortable saying those things about somebody who has less of an audience, less money, less resources in society. This is her rationale. And so if you're willing to treat her like that, how are you going to treat a sex worker who's maybe homeless and working outdoors or struggling with addiction or living in poverty? Well, if you're selling sex, you're a whole sex worker and you're homeless, yeah, I don't think that job's working out for you. That's for starters. Let's just start there, because to me, that's the real problem. Okay, that if you're a sex worker and you're homeless, please make it all make sense, is all I'm saying. But I digress. So it's one of the most dangerous professions in the country. And according to a 2021 statistics, the death rate is 204 out of every 100,000 sex workers. One of the other most dangerous professions in the country, being a fisherman in Alaska, has a death rate of 129 out of 100,000 to give context. So maybe they should stop doing it. Sex workers face physical abuse at least once a month, according to legal information. Khalida also pointed out that Jackson, has been accused of bad behavior over the years, including by Joy. Yeah, but the funny thing about that is Joy just came out and made those allegations after he said that he wanted custody of the son and after he clowned her online for the allegations made against her. So I have questions as to whether there's any validity to anything that she said about him. Okay, it goes on to say she accused him of rape and physical abuse when they were together, which he has denied. Khalida stresses it's important to be mindful of how much of a platform you have. No, what's important to be mindful of is the company that you keep. And that's what Daphne Joy should have done. She should have been mindful of the company that she kept, which in this case was Diddy. Okay, so what do you all think about that? What do y'all think about that? Okay, I mean, at the end of the day, if your job is so dangerous and there's so many people getting murked out here in these streets for doing this type of work, stop doing it. Simple. Quite frankly, it's illegal anyway. At least it's supposed to be. All right. So, and maybe if they didn't have SEX workers, maybe if they started the police and law enforcement, that is the feds, maybe if they started being more relentless in their pursuit of shutting down these sex workers, maybe trafficking would be less of an issue. Okay? Like, I'm sorry, this stuff all goes hand in hand. They convince me with it. It all sounds ridiculous. Okay, you're sitting here trying to make a plea about sex work. Really? That's where we're at? And then blaming 50 about something that was said in a public lawsuit filing. So what if 50 said that she's a sex worker? Isn't it already alleged in the lawsuit that everybody's seen by now? Isn't it already the talk of the town on social media? Okay, so I'm sorry. How's 50 putting her in any more danger than she was in staying, on a yacht and mansions and everywhere else she was staying with Diddy, an alleged murderer, an alleged rapist, an alleged mob boss or a crime boss, shall I say. I'm sorry. Doesn't make sense to me, and I'm sure it doesn't make sense to any of you. Okay, because on this channel, we have critical thinking skills and we exercise common sense. All right, except for the trolls. I don't know what the trolls be doing. But so anyway, with that all being said, now let's listen to what Mr. Demond Wilson, who played Lamont on Sanford and Son, what he had to say on yesterday, because I find it interesting. Now, remember, he was on Comedy Hype maybe months ago, sometime last year, and he was talking about some things that go on in Hollyweird and the industry and all of that stuff. And so now he was back to give his thoughts on Diddy, even though he never said Diddy's name. That's who he was talking about. And I want you all to hear what he had to say, because I find it interesting that he referred to Diddy as an overseer, and which, when I thought about it in hindsight, is a much more appropriate term for him than gatekeeper, as Mr. Wilson said. So let's listen to it. I'm going to play the audio, won't be showing the video. I don't have permission. I did a TikTok on this yesterday also. Please pay attention.
You know what's going on.
It's been a lot going on since the last time we talked.
All the podcasts are talking about this thing with this man. I don't know this man. I don't swim in that pond. But it's everywhere. It's everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. But what I see is somebody who's doing something that's been doing it for over 30 years. And all of a sudden now, this is what I know, okay? I only speak on what I know. I don't like that term gatekeepers. I like overseers. Overseers on the plantation had a certain amount of power that they could wield that the master, the owner of the plantation, gave them. And many of the slaves purportedly feared the overseers more than they did master, because they wanted to maintain and keep their status. Listen to what I'm saying and look at what's happening. They wanted to keep and maintain their status. And as long as the slaves were making that money when they weighed that cotton and whatever crop they had, the overseer's position was solid. So he cracked the whip to make sure that them slaves busted their butt.
You're choosing not to say the person's name, right?
I don't want to. You can say whatever name you want.
Because I just want to make sure the viewers, at least I'm understanding that you're talking about Diddy and you're talking about what went down. I think like relatively maybe about a month ago, his house got raided, and that would open up a can of worms. You're seeing different headlines come out. You're hearing about freak off parties, which I want to ask you about. Were those things existing in your time coming up? But I mean, just seeing that.
I say one thing about that last part that you asked me. Fatty Arbuckle. That name ring a bell?
Nah.
Fatty Arbuckle was in the silent movies. He was a superstar in silent films. And his career was lost because he was look at you Googling because you're young. He was at a freak party, which has been going on since Hollywood existed. This is nothing new. It might be new to just your generation. This ain't nothing new. The game doesn't change, John, only the players. And this generation doesn't understand that because they don't know what happened before. If you don't know your history, you're going to repeat the same dumb things in the future. Fatty Arbuckle was a superstar in silent films. He was at a freak party, which all the big studios used to throw. And he was accused of inserting a bottle in a woman. And it killed his career. His career became flat as 3-day-old beer. What I know about the overseers, I don't want to use that gatekeeper nonsense. That's a modern term. Is that as long as they're producing, they're good. No matter what they do, no matter how vile it is, the gatekeepers will make it go away. Now, what I know, because I went to the top in my industry, as long as you are making money for the powers that be, you can do anything short of somebody watching you murder somebody. The moment you stop making the money for them, you have no intrinsic value. And I knew that, and that's what I used in the business of show. So I'm not talking about this young man. I don't know him. I don't swim in that pond. It's not necessary for me to bring all these people in, how he took advantage of. They wanted something. He wanted something. If you go to a shore in the Caribbean or even here, and you see a sign that says shark sightings, no recreational swimming. You see surfers out there. You see people swimming out there. They go in the water and come out. Nothing might not happen. But then they go in that water and a shark will get them, and that's the end of that. So those waters that these people are swimming in are shark infested in the motion picture industry, in the television industry, and in the recording industry. Those waters are shark infested. You take a chance to go in there. You might come out unscathed. You might not come out.
Yeah. Do you think
what they're talking about this young man is doing has been going on since silent film. Do your research, son. After you hang up, say, that old dude was right again. God dang. Because I'm from that era. I know the history of the industry. The thing that this young man is going through could be they have a ritual, an embarrassment ritual, a shaming ritual.
Right, but let me ask you this, because with that statement, you said this could be a shaming ritual. Does that mean the person's in on it as well as like, this is part of my initiation? Because I saw Diddy in Miami and he was smiling as if everything was okay.
I don't know if this young man, I saw him in a magazine, and I don't want to talk about him, but I saw him on a magazine wearing some pretty zesty clothes. So that said to me, he's probably part of that whole thing. And when you're part of that whole thing, you have to do what you're told. So if you want to go swim in those waters, you got to know, you got to be prepared. Look, there people say Damon was hard on John. He was hard on. Look, my hardness came from the discipline of my mother and father. When I was 8 years old to 18, I was in scouting. When I was 11, Cub Scouts, where you learn handcrafts, 8 to 11. At 11, I joined the Boy Scouts of America. That was before in the 50s. I was sleeping on the ground in 20-degree weather, putting up a tent, learning how to cook my food and being a man, how to be a man, how to start a fire with a flint. And then I went into the military. So when I went to basic training, it was like summer camp for me. And then I was in the middle of a war. So I'm not a B male. I'm not a beta male.
All new
All right, so you all heard that. So now we're going to talk about the story that Mr. Wilson mentioned. Okay, we're going to talk about that in a second, but before we do, listen to this. This tells you more insight into what goes on at those mansion parties. One of these is a clip that I played for you on yesterday, but please pay attention.
They got rituals on to see. You got the right one.
I don't know about rituals.
I never sold myself.
See,
I never did no gay shit. So I don't feel uncomfortable saying about it. What I told you, the devil's job is to take as many souls as possible. The music industry is satanic. When I say it's still the same gatekeepers, what I mean by that is a company called Vivendi. Period. Vivendi. Y'all can Google that. Vivendi owns Viacom. It's umbrella companies. This shit don't change, right? That's one. Two, with the music business, once they see you got potential to be influential over the masses, so when they get proposition and they see a car, they go, they don't know, don't drink after a nigga. They don't know a nigga going.
They never been in the street. They don't know the
now look,
that
I'm
apply.
gonna tell you, look, I'm gonna tell you a story, because I ain't really trying to put niggas out there, right? But a nigga in the studio, we from the hood. I used to stick niggas up, bro. Babyface, I used to book niggas. So I'm always on point, bro. I'm on point right now, my nigga. Always on my square. But a nigga that's a square, he don't know. Yeah. So he don't know watch your drink. He don't know. So now he drink behind a nigga. He get drugged. They videotape it. Then when he in a meeting, they give him a shitty contract. They play the video of him getting 3 niggas. He ain't never been doing shit like that. So he like, man, what fuck gonna sign? And you gonna give me money? So rather than get that story put out, he gonna sign that bad contract, which is the 360 deal. He gonna take that advance, which is recuperable anyway. So they gonna give him the money just to take back and own the rights to his shit.
I'm sitting here with 5 niggas that got the same look like
I'm telling y'all, they around out here. Y'all, they are niggas around. They giving niggas some shit that ain't even what you think. Wake up tomorrow, shit, ass nigga with a footy on and don't know what you just done did. I mean, real shit. Your motherfucker feels the fuck your ass hurting. You don't know what to say. You don't know who to tell. But this is what the game is going to. That's what it's going to. Then, here it is, it's time for a contract to come out. Nigga want to sign you for 5 years, you like, nah, dog. So you don't want to sign with us? Nah. Not for no nah. Man, pop in the tail. Show this nigga what he did last night. I'm serious. Dude, this real shit I'm telling y'all though. Pop in the tape. You sitting there like, man, what the yeah, that's what happened. You got what you gonna do? You gonna sign that contract. You don't want nobody in the hood to see that shit. You don't want this shit to get out, dog. I'm telling y'all, and this is what I'm gonna tell y'all like this. These niggas that you see constantly high, they're not getting high because they like to get high. They getting high because they know what they done done.
Send the stylist at them first.
Yeah. Yep.
And if the stylist is like, if the stylist report back and be like, oh, he ready, then they invite you to the party. And that's when they be like, yo, look, when you go in here, it's gonna be some, you know what I mean? It's a nigga at the door.
Okay, now look, what Ali Vegas is doing to you right now, he's giving you the game of how these niggas be getting turned.
Yeah, like
they try to put this tight ass shirt on you.
That's what they do.
And if you wear the shirt,
they like, oh, he ready.
He with it.
That's you telling them like, yeah, I'm ready. And then next thing you know, you get invited to the party with the greeting is the man squeezing your.
Whoa.
Okay, so you all heard that also nefarious, and I want you to pay attention. So they said that they do these things to, you know, to embarrass you, to hold it over your head, to blackmail you. Okay, so this is what they do to the men, but what do they do to the women? For the women, they make them have some type of inappropriate situation with someone that's too young. That's what they do. And if you don't remember, think back to when I reported on that cult Nexium, okay, with the girl Allison Mack from Smallville, okay, and the lady that's the heir to the Seagram's gin company. So just think about that. That's what they had them doing. That's what they claimed that R. Kelly had some of the people doing that he was dealing with. All right. So for the women, they make them do something with a person that's not of age to hold that over their heads. All right. And this is what they do with the men. So just pay attention. But also think about how they said at the end that the greeting is a man grabbing grabbing another man's private at the door. So let's go back to Terry Cruz, because isn't that how he was greeted at a party? Okay, let's get into it. I'm going to play a clip from that. I'm not going to show the video, but please like and share the video.
Emma Stone, Sylvester Stallone, Eddie Murphy, and Adam Sandler.
You're talking about a very, very powerful man who has access to studio heads. What they do affects every part of the business, from producers, writers, actors. They own finance companies, the whole thing.
And did you know him before the party?
And I did not know him. I heard of him. We had never, ever even had a conversation. Okay, so I just heard, and actually, I was actually looking forward to meeting him.
But instead of a professional meet and greet, Cruz claims Bennett leered at him from across the room.
And he looked me in my eyes, and he was sticking his tongue out overtly sexually to me. I mean, it was no mistake that this was a sexual type tongue move. And I'm thinking it's a joke. I'm thinking, is this how this guy breaks the ice? I don't understand what this is.
Confused, Cruz said he reached out to shake his hand.
I reached my hand out, and he takes his right hand and under mine and immediately squeezes, grabs my genitals, and I'm jumping like, hey, whoa. And he jumped back, and he still does this tongue stuff, and he's making weird noises, and then he comes back again and grabs me again. And I slap his hand away, push him back more forcefully, and I'm like, what are you doing?
According to Cruz, the alleged groping happened in front of his wife, Rebecca King Cruz. She confirmed her husband's account to ABC News.
So she's witnessing the entire thing.
Okay, so he disrespected that man just like that and in front of his wife and gave 0 F's. Okay, that's what he did. So I want you all to pay attention. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance. Now, with that all being said, I did do some research, just like Mr. Wilson said. And so I'm going to tell you all exactly what happened with the story of Fatty Arbuckle. Okay? So everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Now, this is supposedly an assault case that shocked Hollywood. And this happened almost a century ago. Before I get into this, I want you all to listen to what Mr. Demond Wilson said again, because I have to go and let somebody in real quick. Okay, so listen to this for a few minutes.
You know what's going on.
It's been a lot going on since the last time we talked.
All the podcasts are talking about this thing with this man. I don't know this man. I don't swim in that pond, but it's everywhere. It's everywhere. But what I see is somebody who's doing something that's been doing it for over 30 years. And all of a sudden now, this is what I know, okay? I only speak on what I know. I don't like that term gatekeepers. I like overseers. Overseers on the plantation had a certain amount of power that they could wield that the master, the owner of the plantation, gave them. And many of the slaves purportedly feared the overseers more than they did master, because they wanted to maintain and keep their status. Listen to what I'm saying and look at what's happening. They wanted to keep and maintain their status. And as long as the slaves were making that money when they weighed that cotton and whatever crop they had, the overseer's position was solid. So he cracked the whip to make sure that them slaves busted their butt.
You're choosing not to say the person's name, right?
I don't want to. You can say whatever name you want.
Because I just want to make sure the viewers, at least I'm understanding that you're talking about Diddy, and you're talking about what went down. I think like relatively, maybe about a month ago, his house got raided, and that would open up a can of worms. You're seeing different headlines come out. You're hearing about freak off parties, which I want to ask you about in your time coming up. But I mean, you know, just seeing that.
You know,
I say one thing about that last part that you asked me. Fatty Arbuckle. That name ring a bell?
Nah.
Fatty Arbuckle was in the silent movies. He was a superstar in silent films. And his career was lost because he was at, look at you Googling because you're young. He was at a freak party, which has been going on since Hollywood existed. This is nothing new. It might be new to just your generation. This ain't nothing new. The game doesn't change, John, only the players. And this generation doesn't understand that because they don't know what happened before. If you don't know your history, you're going to repeat the same dumb things in the future.
That's also true. Okay, so let's get into it. I apologize for that. I heard the people pull up, so I had to go let them in. Okay, so now let's talk about it. Because decades before the arrest and conviction of even mogul Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, or Diddy, there was stuff going on in Hollyweird, okay? They call it the Hollywood glitterati. Okay, one of the first mass media cases of this terrible abuse centered around once popular film star Fatty Arbuckle and what happened during a wild party on Labor Day of 2021. This was a freak-off. Roscoe Conklin Arbuckle was born in Smith Center, Kansas on March 24th of 1887. Okay, so we're going to skip down. We don't need to know his whole career. So on September the 5th of 1921, Arbuckle's friend Fred Fishback planned to throw the party to end all parties at the St. Francis Hotel in San Francisco. Now, the guest of honor was Arbuckle, whose latest film, Crazy to Marry, was a national hit. Fishback rented 3 rooms. Okay, numbers 1219, 1220, and 1221, all connecting to one another. He brought along a hefty supply of bootleg booze. This was still the era of prohibition. All right, lots of eager starlets and music was there. Among the showbiz women invited to the party was a 25-year-old aspiring actress named Virginia Rappe. It's spelled R-A-P-P-E. I'm going to say Rappe. That's what it looks like. Virginia Rappe. Now, according to a witness, there was a guest named Maud Delmonts. Arbuckle and Rappe turned down 3 or more gin and orange wine drinks together. Okay, I'm sorry, they downed, not turned down, they downed 3 or more gin and orange wine drinks together when he pulled her into one of the adjoining rooms. Delmonts claimed that Arbuckle said, "I've waited for you 5 years and now I've got you." Let me just put pictures on the screen of how this young woman and Arbuckle looked. Likes up everyone, please like and share. That's the 2 right there. He says, "I've waited for you 5 years and now I've got you." Within an hour, Delmont claimed to hear screaming and tried to enter the room, but Arbuckle had locked it shut. Eventually, Arbuckle opened the door, clad in pajamas, wearing Virginia's hat on his head. And Delmont said a big, fatty Arbuckle smile was on his face. Inside the room, Delmont charged that Rappe was on the bed in pain, yelling, "I'm dying, I'm dying. He did it." The hotel doctor and nurse were called right away. They moved Rappe to another room to rest for a few days until finally being taken to a hospital where she died on September the 9th of a ruptured urinary bladder. They didn't take this woman. I want you all to pay attention because they didn't take this woman to the hospital right away. And why didn't they do it right away? Because they were trying to cover it up. Because they didn't want anyone to know what Fatty Arbuckle had done for her. They covered it up and tried to sweep it under the rug. And that's the same thing that they continue to do right now. Because if you think that no one knew that Weinstein, Epstein, and Diddy were doing these things that they've been accused of for decades, of course people knew. And just like some people right now will still deny it and blame it on other things or even on the victims. So goes on to say, that Delmont told the police that Arbuckle had raped Rappe and that the impact of his weight, because he weighed more than 266 pounds, said that's what ruptured her bladder. See, they didn't want to tell the truth. They didn't want to tell what really happened because, see, here's the thing. Even though it's deplorable to say that someone raped someone, Well, it's even more deplorable, and especially back then, remember this is 1921. It was even more deplorable to think that someone would insert something into a person. That was known as depravity. Okay. And then it had something to do with intimacy. So yeah, that was something they definitely didn't want to get out. Okay. And so let's continue. So they tried to say that it was because of his weight, because he was just too fat. So Rape's agent, Al Simnacker, made the story worse by claiming that Arbuckle used a piece of ice to grape her, a story that quickly transmogrified into the obscene use of a Coca-Cola bottle or wine bottle. So I want you to pay attention, because what they're trying to say here is they're trying to act as though, even in this writing, they're trying to act as though that's not what he did. They're trying to say that these were just stories that were made up, that he didn't insert something in there, that it was just stories. Somebody said it was ice first, and then somebody said a Coca-Cola or wine bottle. No, that's absolutely what he did. Okay, that's how the woman died. But let me continue. So goes on to say, and this is what her agent said. Okay, now I would believe the agent rather than the rest of these people, because they were all trying to cover for Fatty Arbuckle. The agent said that he used a Coca-Cola bottle or a wine bottle and put it up there. Now, other witnesses testified that Arbuckle had actually used the ice to rub her stomach as a means of trying to relieve her belly pain. You all know that sounds so foolish. If he was trying to ease her pain, why would she be screaming when they came in there and saying, I'm dying, I'm dying? He did it. If he was trying to help her. You see how they lie and try to protect people? I just want y'all to pay attention. But like I said, we still have people doing the same for Diddy. Now, William Randolph Hearst's newspaper chain, a long purveyor of tabloid journalism, had a field day reporting Arbuckle's alleged sexual depravities. Both Chaplin and Keaton, and that's Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton, gave interviews attesting to Arbuckle's good nature and innocence, but the film star's reputation was shredded in the popular press. Now, Buster and Charlie Chaplin, well, they had some improprieties about them, stories that I've heard about them as well. So it only seems befitting that they would sit there and try to cover for Arbuckle, okay? Because they were all peas from the same pot. Now, Arbuckle turned himself into the San Francisco police on September the 10th. He was charged with manslaughter, and his mugshot made front page news across the nation. Arbuckle told a very different story of what happened. He claimed that the drunken Virginia became so hysterical that she tore off her clothes. Complaining of shortness of breath, Arbuckle said she began vomiting. Which he thought was the result of drinking too much liquor. He tried to calm her down by getting her into a chilled bathtub and then called for the hotel doctor. This is all lies and BS. If he was doing all of this to help her, why didn't they ever take her to the hospital until days later? Okay, please pay attention. He was sitting there trying to rub ice on her stomach to soothe the pain. Then he put her in an ice bath and all of that and called the doctor. If they were being so concerned and caring to her, why didn't they take her to the hospital in the first place? Now, that's how you know this is all lies. I want you to pay attention. So goes on to say, at the trial, an ambitious district attorney named Matthew Brady used and misused his witnesses to make his case against Arbuckle. In other words, he was getting to the truth. Okay, there were conflicting testimonies and a great deal of drama, including the claim that Rape's fingerprints on the doorknob suggested her attempt to escape the room. Her attempt to escape the room. The woman was trying to get out of there. She was fighting for her life. Okay, and that the doctor and nurse treating Rape testified that she did not mention being grapes. Oh, of course they're going to say that. They're the same ones that didn't take her to the hospital for days. Okay, doctor or not. Testimony the district attorney had thrown out as hearsay. So the fact that they said that somebody said there was fingerprints on the doorknob and she tried to run for it, that was thrown out as hearsay. I'm sorry, but fingerprints isn't hearsay. You can literally take fingerprints, okay, in as evidence. But I digress. Other hearsay claims include the story that Rape was suffering severe abdominal pain for over 6 weeks, which she blamed on a relationship with another man. Okay, now this statement is specifically interesting because if Rape contracted an STI or an VD, a venereal disease, such as gonorrhea or chlamydia, the infection could have advanced to pelvic inflammatory disease, which could develop into a serious chronic condition. Another theory was that she may have suffered from the effects of a botched abortion, which also could have led to her urinary bladder problems. I want you all to pay attention. So what they did was they concocted scenarios. What it is they use theories. What it is they just made up BS stories that they pulled out of the thin air to try to make it, a justification for this woman's murder. They tried to act like she just died. She was just sick. They don't want to say Fatty Arbuckle took this woman's life out of depraved acts that he performed and perpetuated her against her will. Now, Arbuckle's attorneys presented the coroner's autopsy report that concluded that Rapé had chronic inflammation to the bladder, but there were no marks of violence on her body, no signs that the girl had been attacked in any way. Yeah, this is what the people that he got to do said. Okay, please pay attention. Now, this disproved the allegation of an external cause of force, such as Arbuckle jumping on her. But the pathologist also reported no evidence of pregnancy, previous abortions, or any type of diseases. So there were actually three Fatty Arbuckle trials. The first one ended on December the 4th, 1921. The jury deliberated for 5 days and voted 10-2 for his acquittal. A second trial began in January and ended less than a month later. It too resulted in a deadlocked jury, 9-3 for the favor of a guilty verdict. Now, after 2 mistrials, a third trial was held in March and April. At these proceedings, Arbuckle allowed his attorneys to be far more aggressive in their approach to shaming Rapé. See, that's what they did back then. The victim was the one to blame for their own demise when it came to things like rape and assault. Okay, so it goes on to say several witnesses who knew her testified that she had a long chronic cystitis, bladder infection, and inflammation, which was exacerbated by drinking alcohol. So were they doctors? These are just witnesses. Okay, some blame the victim by testifying that she often drank heavily, and when she was drunk at parties, she tended to disrobe in front of guests. Others testified that Virginia was known to be sexually promiscuous. Arbuckle's lead attorney, Gavin McNabb, also attacked the veracity of Maud Delmont's testimony. McNabb unveiled her other life as Madam Black, who procured young women. Pay attention, it sounds like Ghislaine Maxwell. Okay, she procured young women for parties thrown by wealthy men. Afterwards, she and her stable of girls would often accuse these male attendees of rape and blackmail them into paying large sums of money. Now, after a little, maybe that's why now when these things are coming out about Diddy, some people are saying it's a money grab. Now, after a little more than 5 minutes of deliberation, the jury acquitted Arbuckle of all the charges against him. The jury publicly stated that we wish him success and hope that the American people will take the judgment of 14 men and women that Roscoe Arbuckle is entirely innocent and free from blame. But was he? Arbuckle may not have been guilty of manslaughter, and he likely did not cause Rapé's ruptured bladder or her subsequent death. But behind the locked door in room number 1219 of the St. Francis Hotel, it sure sounds as if some type of sexual violence or unwanted sexual advance may have occurred. Since both participants are now dead, we will never know for certain. Okay? So that was all real crazy. So like I said, these things have been going on forever. This is nothing new. And as per usual, people will be around to be enablers to try to cover up for these people, to try to lie for them and deny the allegations and all of that, and act like they're such good, upstanding citizens. Please pay attention. Okay, so with that all being said, beloveds, I'm going to close out this broadcast. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Please like and share. Thank you in advance. And for those of you who follow the backup channel, I'll be going live on there because we got to talk about this little racist devil who took the life of this black woman who was driving an Uber. She was an Uber driver. He took her life. It looked like for nothing. We got to talk about that. And also Biden sitting there talking all tough to Iran the other day, telling them not to do anything to Israel. And now he's getting backlash. Okay. So with that all been said, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance, beloveds. Right? Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember to keep the Most High first in your lives. Hit him with that flavor. Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my peace. This time